Welcome to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, the daily talk show with the voice of Penn State football and men's basketball. You never know what special guest may stop on by any given day. Now here's the man of the hour, Mr. Steve Jones.
Great to be with you. Practice today. It's a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Well, I can tell you what wasn't practice last night, Steve Jones. Michigan winning. That wasn't practice. Michigan 69, UConn 63. Did you stay up to watch the game until about 11:30 at night?
No, I watched all of it.
Okay.
No, I watched all of it.
It was start to finish a very entertaining game, but also
It wasn't well played. It was not a well-played game.
missed shots all over the place. Yeah. And I want to get ahead of it and start with the refereeing part, which I think the refs had a good game. I think it wasn't an issue for them. UConn was making bad fouls. Michigan in the second half had bad fouls. It was just poor defensive display from each team.
Yeah.
And I saw some fans criticizing online saying the refs blew this game because they let Silas Demery get his fifth foul. And I was like, he put the refs in a spot where they were going to either call it or not, and they called him for a bad foul. It's on him for putting himself in a position to where Elliot Cadeau can very easily have drawn the foul. So,
all right.
I think the refs did well. I think UConn had poorly played that game on the defense side of the ball in terms of the fouling, and Michigan couldn't make a lot of shots, but their foul line kept them in the game and got them the win.
Mm-hmm. They only missed 2 free throws.
Only missed 2 free throws, 3 free throws the entire game.
That's right. I missed 2 at the
25 of 28, but they did enough, and they made the 2 threes they needed to. UConn didn't make enough threes, and that's the way it went. The first Big Ten title since I've been alive.
Oh, wow.
I was not born April 3rd of 2000, Steve Jones.
I mean, yes, I know the Big Ten has, right now, they have the football championship, the men's basketball championship, the women's basketball championship, the wrestling championship, and so
field hockey, I believe, Northwestern won.
Yeah, they have all of that. And that's great for the conference. To me, it's like for example, in basketball, yeah, a team wins the title, but how many teams you get to the Final Four? I think about stuff like that. Like, how many do you get into that Final Four set there? Because you need to have a lot of circumstances go right to win the whole thing. Hey, look how great, the SEC, the ACC. It's about the team. It's about the matchups. The officiating last night. Look, all 3 guys Penn State had this year at one point or another. They may have had Kip once, but the officiating was good.
Wasn't bad. Wasn't
when you're trying
incredible.
When you're not hitting outside shots, and neither team's hitting outside shots, you then have a tendency to attack the basket, go at it. Going at the basket means what? More contact. So you have to make a decision as an official. How much do I absorb?
Yeah. And you add into this that there was slaps all over the place from both teams. They both looked just tired, is how I think it looked.
Yeah.
The one who didn't look tired was Alex Caravan the entire game because he was flying up and down. He was getting rebounds. He was the best player on the floor for me watching this game. I know Cadeau won MOP. He deserved it. I think if we're taking the best player on the court, Caravan was the best on the game. But that's also
Eventually. It took them a little while to get into the flow of the game.
And Michigan on offense couldn't get into it early. It was Cadeau and Johnson at the first 15 points, I believe, until Mara had a dunk. It was just tough sledding.
Lendenborg's kind of
he was slowed by his injury. You could tell he even said it. He was like, I am exhausted and I'm mad and I'm upset because I can't physically do it. And that was the most candid I've ever heard an interview done, it was really interesting. So
look, I realize that in some areas, like Bill Raftery's in it every day.
Mm-hmm.
Grant Hill is not. And Iron Eagle is not. But, for example, they missed a lot of stuff last night. No, with all due respect, it's like, I don't quite get what's going on here. For example, Cadeau came down with 43 seconds left, and he fired up a three then at the end of the first half. Now, why did he do that? Well, he wasn't explaining in the broadcast because he looked at the clock. He's trying to get his team a 2-for-1.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he missed the shot, but he was trying to get a 2-for-1, which they eventually did get. Explain that. That's why he's taking the shot. How about the end of the game? The end of the game, they've got a problem in the backcourt, right? And there's the tie-up with 25 seconds to go. Okay, there's 25 seconds on the shot clock. Dusty called a timeout. Why did Dusty call a timeout? Oh, to get him organized. No, he called the timeout, yeah, maybe to get him organized. But now, instead of having 5 seconds to get over the timeline, because they had possession, right? This one where McKinney went to the floor, okay? Because he called the timeout, they now have the full 10 seconds to go over the timeline. Explain that to the fans, okay? He didn't just call the timeout to organize them. He called the timeout to reset, okay, the timeline clock, right? It may say 25, but at 25, if they just, okay, it's Michigan possession, they take the ball out of bounds. They got 5 seconds to get the ball over. But by calling the timeout, they now have 10. I mean, in other words, don't class, like, there are different rules for this. You know, you have two NBA guys doing the game. Well, the NBA doesn't have that. Okay? You have 8 seconds in the NBA to get it over the line. You've got 8 seconds, no matter what happens. There's no reset on a timeout. In college basketball, there is.
Yes.
I'm saying, okay, it's a close game. UConn is putting pressure on them. Okay? Because as I've tried to point out many times, most teams don't handle it very well. They don't see it very often. Right? And so that's not a subtlety there. That is a fabulous timeout by the head coach because he just reset the clock. Instead of having 5 to get it over the timeline, I've got 10. I bought my team more time by what I just did. Plus, we can run something out of bounds. Right, off the play. Right, 2-for-1 at the end of a half. We talk about that all the time. These are NBA guys. They should, like, they talk about this stuff in the NBA at the end of quarters all the time. It's the end of the half. How come nobody pointed it out? Like, what are we doing here? Right? I'm not kidding.
I mean,
in other words, part of your job is to educate people who don't see this on an everyday basis of what the hell's going on out there. Right? It's like, I'm sorry, but like, that's not good. That's not good. It's not.
Can I give you a positive from the game? UConn's offensive rebounding.
Impressive.
22 offensive rebounds. Terrace Reed had 7 offensive rebounds.
Jack Ham and I were just talking about Terrace Reed.
Like, that's insane.
Terrace Reed is a man.
22 offensive rebounds. Like, they put up 13 extra shots, and it was the offensive rebounding that did it. Like, they just kept getting the ball and getting the ball and getting the ball and putting up shots. They didn't make enough shots, but they gave themselves the chances to do it.
But look, Reed he started out at Michigan. He did not play for Dusty. Okay, he was a Juwan Howard player. And then transferred over to UConn. You put him on the block, you can't move him. You cannot move him. His only problem last night is that he really had to adjust his shot inside when Morrow was on him because Morrow's just. It's not just he's 7'3", 7'4". I mean, his arm go in the air.
He gets up basically to the rim.
It's like, so he couldn't finish as comfortably. He finished some shots, but he couldn't finish as comfortably at a normal rate.
Yeah.
Because he had an abnormally tall man guarding him that has skills. And I thought Cadeau did a great job of controlling pace. Solo ball in the Final Four played very well, I thought.
He played very well. The issue was him and Demery both were just in foul trouble the entire game, and so they each got 16 to 20 minutes, and it was tough because they couldn't get a flow because they kept getting fouls. And that was kind of the crux of it was UConn's biggest issue is they kept getting fouls and they couldn't keep their guys in the court. The only Michigan guy who got into foul trouble early, at least, was Johnson, had 2 fouls in the first half. That was a problem. But outside of that, they were able to at least keep Cadeau, Lendeberg, everyone out there. Lendeberg, by the way, played the full 20 minutes in the first half on basically a 1.5 legs. Like, that is truly impressive.
No, it is. And not only that, he didn't do much offensively in the first half. He didn't do much offensively until he had a little spurt in the second half. But his defense was good the entire time.
He had the chase down block. He had a big couple rebounds. He had an assist. And he was just there as a ball handler. Because when Cadeau comes out, Lendeberg kind of is the ball handler. Because that, of course, would be LJ Kaysen, who we talked about before the tournament, being out for it. That was big. And that made Lendeberg the number 2 ball handler on the team. And he did that well enough to keep Michigan ahead. And as soon as Michigan got the lead in the first half, they never really let it go. Like, they never let UConn get close enough to be within a shot. It was always just outside of that. And UConn, again, couldn't make enough threes. Where Mullins and Caravan, they had a couple spurts where they got hot. But Mullins was ice cold the last couple games. Caravan had rough shooting nights. So LeBall shot the ball well. He had that bank 3 to cut it close late. But it was just Michigan kept it far enough apart. And UConn couldn't get back into the game. And now Michigan wins the title. They were the best team throughout most of the season. One of the top 5 pretty much wire to wire. And they win the NCAA championship, Steve Jones. And now going into this next season, can they repeat, I guess, is the question we start with.
Nobody knows. Look, because
we don't know what the team's going to look like, because we don't know currently who's going to play where. Where's Flory Badunga going to play? Where's John Blackwell going to play? Heck, where are the Michigan guys going to go? Braylon Mullins is going to probably go to the draft from UConn. Caravan's done. Like, what's going to happen with all these guys? We don't know.
First of all, the portal's open now.
It is officially open for the men's. Players are entering. As this moment, only the 4 Penn Staters we've discussed have entered the portal. I have it up. I'm refreshing it as we're going. Miles Colvin just entered, former Purdue player, played for Wake Forest last year. He just entered the portal. So players are going in.
He can shoot. He can shoot. He's not a bad player.
Yeah.
You're going to have probably between 1,000 and 2,000 players in the portal.
Well, we're already over the 1,000 in the men's. The women's is over 1,200 already, and that's I believe it was 27% of the women's players in the portal already transferred once. I think that was the number I saw this morning. So a quarter of those in the portal. So what? 300 to 400 people that are entering the portal on the women's side have already transferred once in their careers. And it's growing. And the men's side is going to end up being something similar to where now these players, it's a 1-year deal essentially per player, per school.
I mean, look, you don't know what the makeup of any team is going to be until the end of the month. Then you can start thinking about who was able to get what. Because you want to talk about 1,000 moving pieces. And part of the 1,000 moving pieces includes a new coach like Michael Malone. I have no idea what he is going. He just got the job yesterday. Who's his GM? Who are his assistant coaches? The portal's open. Who stays?
And
who goes? Who do we acquire? And he has to do this in a system he's not familiar with.
He is the only furthest he got at coaching was assistant coaching, I believe, at Manhattan, was his last job in college basketball.
2001.
So he hasn't been in this NIL era. Of course, he was, as you mentioned, the coach of the Denver Nuggets, NBA championship coach. He got let go a year and a half ago, right before the playoffs. So he's now coming on into UNC, where they now have two title-winning professional coaches for their men's basketball and football. But how does that translate? Football, year one wasn't great. And the question now is, how does it work for basketball? Because Malone is great with X's and O's,
right?
But it's a different thing when you're trying to X's and O's Nikola Jokic and X's and O's an 18-year-old who's coming in as a 4-star recruit. Very different ball game.
I mean, that's what strikes me about it. I was reading some article about him getting the job.
Apparently, it comes down to in part that the likes of Dusty May, Nate Oates, and TJ Otzelberger all got their upped deals and announced it, and then UNC apparently had been thinking about Malone and then kind of panicked a little bit in terms of, well, these guys are all signing their deals. We got to get somebody. And before the NBA season ends, when Malone was probably going to be up for a lot of those jobs, they went ahead, jumped the gun, got Michael Malone before the NBA teams could snap him up. That's what it looks like right now.
I mean, I read a story and it made it seem like, they quietly went about whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's the guy. I'm sitting there going, there isn't a single person outside of whomever was running it at North Carolina and the agent for Michael Malone that knew that they were even talking to Michael Malone. Nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Like every single expert out there, you know what I think of experts.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, it's Dusty May. Dusty May. I mean, I'm sure they contacted Dusty May.
Apparently, Tommy Lloyd was the same, where they contacted him.
They contacted the agent, like, I'm not leaving.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like it was like all these coaches that were allegedly tied to Penn State all got raises and the whole thing. You're like going, okay. I mean, I know who Pat talked to and who he didn't talk to. I'll leave it at that.
And the reports are that they were considering Billy Donovan. He may have been the top name, but they didn't want to wait until the NBA season ended in case he said no. But this happens right after, like a few days after the Bulls announced they let go of Arturas Karnisovas, the VP of the guy running the show for the Bulls, and the number 2. They both got fired. So you would think whoever comes in is going to want to hire their new coach. At that point, for UNC, you say, we can wait for Billy Donovan at this point.
Yeah, you can't wait for the NBA season to end because of today.
Yeah.
Today is the first day the portal is open.
Yeah.
You cannot wait for the NBA season to be over with to hire a basketball coach. You cannot do that.
The timing is rough, and they now get Malone, who has to come in with less than 24 hours before the portal had opened. It now is open. The question is, what is UNC going to do in the portal? Who are they going to go and get? Who's going to come in? We've talked about, and I've mentioned the names of the recruits who have the ability to commit elsewhere because there's a coaching change. So that might be a part of this. And there is a lot of flux, and UNC is a blue blood. And it doesn't happen often. A blue blood gets put in a position of flux like this. We saw it with Kentucky a little bit when Calipari was on his way out and Pope came in. Doesn't happen often. Bill Self, of course, didn't retire this offseason. That was heavily talked about. A lot's happening in the college landscape, and the latest piece is Michael Malone is going from the NBA championship with the Nuggets to 3 years later to being UNC's head coach.
Can he be? Is he a good coach?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. But how are you in this environment of transfer portal and recruiting and everything that goes with it? How are you? It's one thing to walk in there and say, "Hey, I coached Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray and guys like that," and Gordon and it's one thing to say that. Okay, so you have some cachet, but can you navigate this system? And for example, Like, let's take Belichick, okay? And Michael Lombardi. And it's not just Belichick, it's Michael Lombardi.
Because he's the GM. He's the one signing the contracts, getting the players.
Right. When they were sitting there and evaluating quarterbacks, they were looking at quarterbacks with an NFL mindset, right? From an NFL viewpoint, size, arm, things like that. Instead of looking at it from a college viewpoint. Right? For example, would North Carolina have been a more successful team this past season having whomever it was a quarterback this year or Diego Pavia? Look, Diego Pavia is the definition of a college quarterback. He's not going to do anything on the NFL level. At least I can't see it.
Yeah.
Right? I can't see it. But as a college quarterback, fabulous. Tim Tebow was a great college quarterback. Tim Tebow was an okay NFL quarterback. And if anybody ought to know, it's Bill. He had Tebow with him on the Patriots roster at one point. But you can tell that like it was an education for them last season at North Carolina in football about understanding what you could do with college players and not one size fits all at positions because they're college players as opposed to using an NFL mindset to build a team, right? Michael Malone has to come in with an idea of how to build a college team as opposed to building an NBA team. And I don't have a G League where I can send a guy back and forth and all of a sudden like he gets better and better. And I don't have that system.
He's got to just get better.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that, and as the ability to coach, the ability to do X and O. Hey, there's 20 seconds to go in the game. He's going to draw up what he needs. He could do all that. He's done that.
Yeah.
All right.
So we will be monitoring the transfer portal, who goes in and out, at least from the Happy Valley side of things. So as of this exact second, the only four in the portal, the four we've talked about yesterday, Eli Rice, Mason Blackwood, Meli Tuncha, and Freddie DeLeon. There's the only four currently in the portal as of 12:06 p.m. on April 7th. And as more news comes out about them, we'll talk about it. The top portal player per most rankings, Flory Badunga, the Kansas center, is rumored to be going to Texas Tech. Steve Jones. We'll talk about that more tomorrow.
Well, again, it's double eagle energy. I keep going back to Cody Campbell and all those guys. Look, when you have like Mike Rapoli, all right, the San Antonio Brahmas were not good enough to keep in the whatever. Okay. But he's one of the big money guys behind St. John's. Well, when you've got somebody who doesn't worry about rate on investment, I mean, okay? Yeah. I mean, and some people do. They'll go, hey, look, I need, because that's how they do everything. But there are some people that just want to win. Well, they just want to win, and so they go, how much do you need? Because they want to be on the winning side of it. And Mike's been one of those guys at St. John's. If you can get at a major program 3 to 5 of those people,
like for instance a Yaxel Lendeberg, a Day Mara, a Merez Johnson, Elliot Cadeau, Amari Burnett. Well, who knows? It might lead to a title.
Look at Larry Ellison at Oracle. Okay, hey, he may not be a Michigan grad, but his new wife, fiance, whatever she is. And guess what? Right, they got a quarterback. They got a quarterback, allegedly at $12 million, whatever the number is. And he's not sitting there going, oh, I wonder what he can do for Oracle. He's sitting there, what can he do for Michigan football? Which is fine. It's not against the rules. He's not breaking any rules. It's not as if he went out and bought all the cell phones for the filming. Oh, I'm sorry. That is breaking the rules.
Thank you for listening to Sports Talk with Steve Jones, a 7 Mountain Media production. Come back at 11 every weekday for analysis of the latest happening in the sports landscape. From college football to European soccer, Steve and Kyle cover it all